All right, welcome back, guys. You are watching Yankees Unloaded. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. And we are here to talk about a Yankees win. But before we even get into that, before we even get into saying that you should like, subscribe, and comment and follow us on all social media at Gary Sheffield Jr., at JK Bogan, and at Yankees Unloaded, we really need to talk about Juan Soto. Gary knows because I texted him immediately and was like, yeah, this isn't good. This is giving me Jason Dominguez vibes. Not to freak out the audience, but this is eerily similar to last year with Jason Dominguez. If you
Oh,
really
they're
think
freaked
about
out.
it, this is how it started. It was, yeah, he's got some forearm discomfort, and then it turned into forearm inflammation, and then, oh, by the way, we know that you love watching Jason Dominguez, but you won't be doing that the rest of the year because he's done. And it was like, hold on, let me process the first thing you told me. And now we're already he's out for the season. He was actually pulled from his AAA game in the eighth inning, had nothing to do with that. So that's good, I guess. Maybe. Yeah, Gary, it's kind of, it's not kind of, it's very unfortunate. If Juan Soto, and I need to make this very clear to people, if Juan Soto is injured, this team is not winning. They're not winning anything. They're not winning the World Series. They could be gone in the first round. Juan Soto means so much to this team. I mean, we've seen this team with Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is the best player in the world when he is on. But Aaron Judge in the postseason is not the best player in the world. Aaron Judge has struggled in the postseason. Giancarlo Stanton has been the guy in the postseason to step up. And Juan Soto, we already know, has that postseason experience and that, obviously the production. Gary, I don't think it's crazy to say if this is a legit injury. I mean, 45-19, as great as that sounds, that really puts a damper on everything that they've done if he's significantly hurt.
If he's significantly hurt, it's catastrophic. We're down tremendously. And I can honestly say that being a podcaster for this team, for it to go this way, for us to be 45-19, we had a player in Juan Soto, which I can honestly say that I don't know if that many of us fans really believed that Brian Cashman was going to pull the trigger on this trade or even be able to get this trade done, right? This is the same GM that went out and got us Josh Donaldson, right? He's the one that brought us IKF and told him to play shortstop all year. So I don't really know if we had faith that this was even going to happen. And then it does. Juan Soto comes through the door and he was everything and more. I actually think he was better than what people were anticipating. Maybe people forgot what he did, right? Because he was in Washington. He was absolutely dominant, destroyed Verlander in the World Series. And he did all that at 21 years old, 21, right? And when that was all happening, he went to San Diego. He had a bad first year in San Diego, kind of rebounded, but never got back to that Juan Soto level we were used to seeing. And then you had Padres fans complaining because he came to New York and he played at this level. He's like back to Washington level. And then he gets hurt. So I say all that to say this. We have to have Juan Soto. He's the most important player on our team. He's a lefty contact bat, something we've been desperate for 4 or 5 seasons running. We finally got that guy. I thought, of course, like Verdugo and Rizzo have always helped us get some lefty at bats, but it's not Juan Soto. It's not a 25-year-old superstar that electrifies Yankee Stadium every time we go out. For him to be hurt would just be, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, okay, well, now we've got a puncher's chance. No, in my opinion, we would have no chance. And given the fact that the tandem and how well they fit, Juan Soto makes us that much better. He really does. There's not many players in baseball, especially in this sport, where you say, okay, take that player off that team. They're still probably a great team. We go from good to elite with Juan Soto. Without him, it's like, how excited do you get about a good team? There's a lot of good teams in baseball. Cleveland's a good team, right? There are a lot of good teams out there in Major League Baseball that we're not predicting to win World Series. The Yankees would be grouped into that bunch without Juan Soto. So they said they're getting scans tomorrow. We're gonna
Yeah.
see. I'm trying because Jake, you were mentioning about Jason Dominguez. Last year, they didn't give us very much information about Dominguez. They essentially said, yeah, he's got a strain, it's sore, imaging, right? And it just kept punting till next week. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh yeah, Tommy John.
Yeah.
Tommy John.
Like
They didn't give us any update, any reason for concern. They just kind of let us
they
know,
rug they
hey,
rug pulled us.
they rug pulled us, and it felt like I got punched in the face. And so if this happens to Juan Soto, what even occurs about this contract extension? Because if Boris is going into the offseason and his biggest client, who's expected to sign a deal hovering around 600 million, what are Yankees fans asking for then? What's that negotiation look like? You're coming off Tommy John, and now I'm giving you a $13 million contract at $40 million a year. It's a difficult conversation to have. So that's not something I even want to entertain or I even want to see, because it's going to get ugly. I'm here to tell everybody right now, if this injury is any bigger than a 1 or 2 or 3 day, exchange, it's going to get ugly between Hal and Soto and all these guys, because we're going to try to figure out essentially what his value is then and what the Yankees look like without Juan Soto. So, of course, huge projections, right? We don't have any information of what's going to happen, but we're just preparing for the worst.
Yes. I think we're in Cole territory. I think it's best. I know it sounds, like I don't really look at us as a pessimistic show. I would say we're realists with a dose of optimism because, we talked about Heel in a positive light and Clark Schmidt, and you and I both were on the same wavelength with, Rodon and
And you were that
Volpe,
way with Wells. So we've been
Wells.
positive about plenty of players. And then of course
Yeah.
there's the negatives, right? The Stantons, which we said we were wrong about. And we actually spoke very highly of Stroman and a lot of other additions, and also staying pat with our roster instead of going to get a Blake Snell. But man, we're not gonna lie to you guys. Okay.
No.
I'm not gonna get on this show and lie to an audience just for views. We're not gonna do that.
That's such a
Losing
waste
Juan
of
Soto
time.
is
Can't believe
devastating.
people
It
do
is.
that.
I can believe it. When you see the money that's being thrown out for podcasts, I can believe people lie. But we're
I
not
mean,
gonna do that.
no, I don't care how much you make. Like Gary and I have to plan these shows. We're 3 hours, okay, in between each other, okay? Because I'm on the East Coast, Gary's on the West Coast. So there's a lot of planning that goes into these shows. It's also why sometimes our shows won't, come out until the next day. Sometimes we'll have to skip a day. Like, we try our best. And that just goes to show you, like, we're busy people, our time is valuable, and so the idea that we would waste our time and your time making up shit is just, I mean, I don't even know. But look, Gary, I'll say this: I think Soto's going to be okay.
I was just gonna
Precautionary,
ask you that.
yeah, I think he's going to be okay. I think it was precautionary as it was explained. That he was taken out of the game. He's been dealing with it for a little bit now, but he's played through it. See, that's not normally what happens. Dominguez, while this is very similar, Dominguez, it was one game and then it got bad and bad and bad, and then it was just really bad. Like if he's been playing with it, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's precautionary, and I also think, look, a 40-minute rain delay, precautionary. Maybe you shouldn't think that the game is in the bag, but at the same time, I would look at it like this, Gary. Would you rather have Juan Soto for this game and have him get hurt, but you secure the win? Or would you rather potentially blow this game, lose it because Juan Soto isn't out there, but now Juan Soto is going to play the rest of the year and he's good?
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
that's an easy answer, especially when you're
yeah,
at the time we were 44-19. And then of course we go on to win the game because we're a great team. But
it's
no,
Minnesota.
completely agree with the premise of what you're saying. 100%. Completely agree. But we do have a history, by the way, of playing players who have even a partially torn UCL, most
Yeah.
notably Masahiro Tanaka. A lot of people, if you weren't aware, Tanaka pitched essentially the back half of his Yankees career with a partially torn UCL. That's part of the reason why you saw such an uptick in velocity in October as opposed to the regular season. He threw a lot of breaking balls in the regular season. He'd hover around 90, 91. He kind of pitched like Stroman. The way you see now, it's like low 90s. He's a craft guy. And then all of a sudden, those series against Houston, he's throwing 95 with a 92 mile an hour splitter. That's because he was pacing himself through the season with a partially torn UCL. So the Yankees have deployed players who were somewhat injured, right? But are you going to play a player who you know is structurally compromised, that you're about to invest the largest contract in Yankees history? Unlikely. So I would say the Yankees are just being cautious. As of now, we have no reason to freak out. Yes, is it scary that Juan Soto could be hurt? Absolutely. But he could get hurt any day. Same thing goes for Ohtani,
Anyone
right? We
could.
saw with Acuna. Any player in Major League Baseball can get hurt tomorrow. So we can't be scared. We just have to be aware of the reality if he is hurt. And hey, the Yankees don't have the best track record for giving us information when we need it. They kind of just pump out information at the last second. They divert our attention. They give us, you know, foo-foo information, and we kind of just have to connect the dots. Where are they going with this? And everyone's guessing. No one knows, right? Boone doesn't tell us any information we need. And then next thing you know, they just tell us he's going to the IL for 60 days. So let's hope
Every
for the
time.
absolute best. Yeah,
Every
I
time.
just don't want to wake up tomorrow and they just like throw information on me. I It's a little weird, wasn't it? That they said that Juan Soto was hurt for the past 2 weeks, and not hurt, but they said he was dealing with this injury for the past 2 weeks. I thought that was an
Yeah.
interesting,
It seems
just
like
an
some cope
interesting
there.
bit.
You know what I mean? Like it did feel like some cope. Like, oh yeah, like we took him out, and then people like, oh well, now we're kind of worried about how people are going to react. So let's be like, oh well, he's been hurt for a while now, and that sounds to me like, if I'm being honest, I think Soto's going to be okay. But what is okay? I think 10-day IL is very likely. I do, but
Okay.
I'll take that over 60. I'll take that over Tommy John surgery. But I think guys have been put on the IL for way less. And to be honest with you, whether they say it was or not, I don't really buy it. I actually do think Jason Dominguez was pulled from his game because of this. And
You think
I
he's
think
getting called up right now?
I 100% believe he's going to get called up.
Okay.
They can say it wasn't connected. I mean, I like Boone. We defend Boone, but Boone is a man of the PR world. Okay. He knows exactly how to answer questions, and he doesn't really give you a whole lot. He says, some stuff without giving you really anything. So if we sat here, Gary, with a straight face, and we just said they don't tell us anything, then why the hell am I going to take what he said about, Jason Dominguez seriously? Oh, I guess, he said that it was just, had nothing to do with it. Must be right. No,
Someone who lies to you once can lie to you again. That's essentially what you're
exactly.
saying. So
Which
should we just agree? Okay. I think we can all agree. If Boone tells us something, you can just take it with a huge grain of salt and
anyone
keep it
in the
moving.
Yankees organization, Cashman,
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to stand pat, goes out, gets, what's his face? Montas, and trades away, Monty, and gets Bader, trades for Benintendi. Yeah. Okay. Cause that's just the way it is. Like,
Then
I
they tell us
know.
we're gonna call. We're all over the phone, and then you hear that we were $100 million under asking price. Right?
Yeah.
We're desperate for
And
this
this
player.
is,
Okay.
yeah. And this is the way it is with every sport. So it's not to knock them. It's not even to knock them. I'm just telling you the way of the world. Covering the NFL, I'll never forget it as long as I live. The general manager of the Rams. Remember Sam Bradford? Of course you do. He
Yes.
played for your team. So Sam Bradford, is on the team, and Les Snead is at the NFL Combine, and they ask him point blank, so what's the deal with Sam Bradford? Are you guys going to keep him? He said, you don't just delete Sam Bradford. Well, the next week, they traded him for Nick Foles. The next week. That is sports. That's always been sports. There's no reason why a guy who in his professional, in his profession, a guy who has to keep things close to the vest, doesn't want to show all his cards, he's going to come out and tell Johnny over there, who is just on his phone all day, just begging for information, going on, shitty message boards and Yankees Reddit just to find out. He doesn't owe you anything. So there's no way that he's just going to say, well, that Johnny guy, he really needs this. Like, his mental health is bad. Let's get him this news. No. The Yankees and any organization is out to protect that organization. It is a business.
So why do we even talk to them? Has anyone asked that?
That's why it's kind of funny, because in a way, and I don't mean to offend anybody here, but sports journalism is kind of like mental gymnastics, because you're asking these questions knowing you're not going to get answers, but you need quotes for your articles. So they tell you a whole lot of nothing, and then you publish it and they're like, oh, Aaron Boone speaks on Juan Soto. That will come out tomorrow, Gary. And guess what? You'll read the article and you'll be like, I didn't learn anything from this at all.
Aaron Boone could literally be in his locker room in tears. Okay?
You're not knowing that. If you actually
ask him the question, hey, Aaron, how worried are you about this whole Juan Soto thing? He could be in tears.
We're not worried.
I'm crying in my locker. He's not going to tell you any information. He's not. Yeah. He's going to just say, hey, we took him out of the game. It's something he's been dealing with for the past week, which is probably true. He's been saying, hey, forearm's a little tight, but I can absolutely go. Not a problem, right? He goes out there and plays. Happens every day, okay? Happens at the college level. So then all of a sudden you fast forward to the rain delay, and he says, hey, forearm's really bothering me. Hey, well, you're going to come out the game. We're obviously sitting in the clubhouse for 45 minutes. You're not going back out there, right? We've got a lead in the division. You're going to cool it for the rest of the day. Take a shower. We'll get it looked at tomorrow. Okay? Now, again, he could be freaking out. It could be horrible. He's not going to get on Yes Network and be like, hey, guys, I'm just letting you know I'm shitting bricks. It's not going to happen. So there's no reason for us to talk to Boone or any of these guys or even call them liars. They're just in the job of getting us to not freak out. Because if we freak out, all hell breaks loose. Yeah. It doesn't do them any good having 90% of their fan base just shitting their pants. It doesn't do them any good.
I mean, it's also propaganda too. Like, you want people to buy tickets. Like, you got this big Dodger series coming up, and you really think people right now? You think people right now are like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna buy tickets because Juan Soto just got hurt. People will sell their tickets, bro. People will sell their tickets. Yeah, I know, it's awful.
I didn't even think about that, Jake.
He's gonna. I know, tomorrow, man. There's no way he plays tomorrow. There's none. He wants to.
This is catastrophic for Major League Baseball.
I know.
He could miss 2 weeks, and it's catastrophic. It's not the same.
He's a superstar. Plus, dude, think about it. The Hispanic viewership for the Yankees has just absolutely gone through the roof. If Juan Soto's not playing, don't you just think like the Hispanic viewership's kind of like, yeah, I was going to watch the Yankees today, but I think I'd rather do anything else since Juan Soto's not playing. You know what I mean? It's like,
it just feels like we're not at full. Well, first of all, we wouldn't be at full strength, but it just dampers the whole idea of like, we're going.
And I mean the Juan Soto fans, right? Like the LeBron fans, the Juan Soto fans that came to the Yankees. So I want to clarify two things. First off, I'm not saying all Hispanic fans are only watching because Juan Soto. I'm saying the Juan Soto, the fans that came over because of Juan Soto are going to be like, yeah, I don't know if I'm watching the Yankees today, because the one reason why I even like the Yankees right now is because Juan Soto, and he's not playing.
Clip that. You heard
the
what Jake said.
the second thing, before anybody gets freaked out and everything or upset, I'm not knocking sports journalism. I understand it's a tough business. I get that. Um, we're kind of in that boat as well. We're just not interviewing people, but my point is that it's almost kind of funny, like Gary and I were talking about, where you have to ask these questions knowing you're not going to get answers. In a way, sports journalists don't get enough credit. The fact they have to go out there and ask these questions every single night. They have to be at the game. They have to be after the game. They're getting there earlier than everybody. They're staying there later than everybody. And it's all so they could ask Aaron Boone what's going on with Juan Soto and have him say, yeah, we'll evaluate and we'll get back to you, or, whatever he'll say. And same thing, asking Juan Soto, and he's just going to say, yeah, like this. And they'll be like, oh, sick. Great quotes. I'm so glad I spent 14 hours at the ballpark today for that. And then they'll just have to conjure it into, an article. And that's not to say every sports journalist does that. Actually, there are a lot that just use clickbait and shock value. But I'm talking about the real ones, not the ones that, you would see on like Deadspin or something. But
I love that you I love that you use Deadspin.
I mean, come on.
Deadspin's buns. Are they even in business still? I'm actually being serious. I haven't seen a Deadspin article.
I think they died.
They're basically The Onion. That company doesn't exist anymore. With all due respect, they should all be homeless. Not a good company.
No.
Which, by the way, we need to talk about the game because, Jake, I absolutely we start talking about just side quest stuff when Trent Grisham just hits an absolute jack. Remember I told you, Trent Grisham's job, who, again, hit a huge homer in today's game. He was essentially the player of the game.
He was the player of the game. He won't be on the cover of this the thumbnail because I can't sell if I'm putting Trent Grisham on the cover of MLB The Show, right? I mean, just think about it like that. He's not marketable in any way, and unless he gets rid of the mustache, he's definitely not marketable in any way. So
right, but this is his job. His job is to play literally once a week, and again, Juan Soto's out of this game, right?
Yeah.
So now that Juan Soto is down, okay, Grisham played center field today, but I'm expecting Grisham to play tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you expect Trent Grisham to play center field tomorrow?
I think he probably will. If Juan Soto is out, which you and I both believe he's probably not playing tomorrow.
Right.
Judge is in right field. Verdugo in left. Center is Grisham. Unless they call up Jason Dominguez tomorrow. I think they're calling up Jason Dominguez. I did not say they're calling him up right now. But I think if this is all right, my prediction, Soto goes on 10-day IL. He misses the entire Dodgers series, and you and I are sitting here like, wow, well, screw me then, right? So that's what's probably going to happen. So he'll go on the 10-day IL. They'll call up Jason Dominguez. They wanted to get him out of that game because they had just, taken out Juan Soto. Are we going to act like the Yankees in the middle of a game can't communicate down to AAA? People act like it's like, but how did they get a hold of him so quickly? Are you kidding me?
Isn't it baffling that people ask that?
It's 2024. I'm sure the manager is getting tabs from Aaron Boone from the dugout. I mean, are we for real? And also,
Jake, think about what year it is, Jake. It's 2024. The new iPhone's latest technology that's coming out, Siri is no longer Siri. Siri is just AI. So you can just ask it to do a bunch of tasks and it'll just do it. It'll send emails with words in it. People can see that level of tech, but they don't think that Aaron Boone can be like, oh shit, hey, let them know down there that we need to get Dominguez ready or something. And they're like, how are we going to do that? Well, those phones that we use to call the bullpen. Use those phones to call there too. It's not hard tech.
Not to mention
it's the easiest tech you've ever seen.
the pitch com. So we have pitch comms, but we can't dial a phone that's already in I can't even, you get the point. Anyway, yes, they can absolutely get a hold of them pretty quickly if they have to. Um, I want to point out one thing. Judge stole another base. He's got 5 on the year. I don't know what it is, but the dude is a speed demon on the base paths right now. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
Well,
But
if Soto's hurt, I'm voting to put Aaron Judge, if he's on the base pass, put him in a freaking bubble in a wheelbarrow and we just roll him around because we cannot afford another injury at all.
no, and the problem is if Soto's hurt, well, regardless if Soto's hurt or not, Stan's not playing every game. Sorry, he's not. He's bound to get hurt at some point. That's just the way the world works. Glaber has had his fair share of injury concerns in the past. So you have those two to worry about. I don't know. LeMahieu, Rizzo. I mean, these guys have had injury issues in the past. So yeah, I'm a little just hoping that Soto's not injured. Talking about this game, Garrett, I don't think we'll talk too much about it, even though they scored 8 runs. This game was kind of boring, honestly. The big stars didn't really, show out. Obviously, the Glaber Torres hit came at a huge point in the game. He's now batting 232. He's looked much better at the plate, much more confident. I still, for the life of me, we talked about, I don't understand the leg kick. He gets the 2 strikes. He did it, the 2-run double, okay? 2 strikes, and he does the no leg kick. Just the toe tap. Like, what? Why aren't you just doing that? He hits better with 2 strikes because he gets rid of the leg kick. It's like he doesn't even realize. But got to give him props for that. Like you mentioned, Grisham's home run. He also had a sac fly. That was a very critical run because, guys, no one scored after the 5th inning. I don't know if we're aware of that. No one scored when they came back from the rain delay.
That's actually not surprising, by the way, because if you really think about it, once we all found out that Soto was coming out of this game, we had no information at all. We still don't have jack shit. Nobody. All the air was deflated out of our fan base. It's not, we're not dead yet, right? You can't pat us down yet. But we don't know.
19.
We're going to know tomorrow whether or not we should just shit bricks. But having said that, we still just don't know. So we're in this like little lull, right? Just in no, like, right? We're just in the middle here, floating. So essentially what I'm saying is that there's no reason to have life until we get life tomorrow from Juan Soto. So I guess we're gonna have to see, because if they tell me, hey, it's gonna be a 10-day thing, imaging came back clean, but he's a little banged up, played through it a little bit, I am not worried about it at all. Not at all. Okay. I think the Yankees can deal without Juan Soto for 2 weeks. I don't think that's a problem. Happens in Major League Baseball. Guys get hurt all the time. Most superstars don't play 162 anymore. If you play about 140, you're good. Right? So
really
if Juan Soto misses, what's that?
He really wants to play 162. Like, he prides himself on that. So that was
good for him.
That was almost a little bit more concerning because it almost feels like he kind of took himself out of the game a little bit. And a guy that wants to play every game, realizing, hey, like, it might be worse than it is. But yeah, I mean, no runs scored after the 5th. And I don't know. It's just a weird game today, Gary. I got to be honest with you. It felt weird. Like, yes, the Yankees outplayed the Twins, but at one point or another, I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, this game isn't close to over, right? Also, Weird thing, the Yankees ended up having to really use their bullpen today. Hamilton, Gonzalez, Weaver, Canely, and Holmes. Holmes, comes away with the save. I didn't think Stroman pitched bad enough to be taken out with 78 pitches. I understand why they did it, but it kind of sucks that, he doesn't get the win. He had run support, doesn't get the win. And I don't really feel like he had great defense, that last inning there, because first off, I love Judge. I don't think he thought that was going to land in fair territory. I think he thought it was out. Paul O'Neill mentioned how, like, normally a left-hand batter, you'll have the ball kind of like slice out. And I think Judge was expecting that as well. That didn't happen. It ended up being a ground rule double, scored a runner. And then, of course, you bring in Ian Hamilton. He gives up the hit, which brings in a run, the Lou Trevino special, where you give up a run, but it doesn't actually count against you. But maybe I'm crazy, Gary. I didn't think Stroman pitched that bad today. Like, I know
No.
it says 5 earned runs, but like, I don't feel like he pitched bad to have 5 earned runs. I felt like it was a 3 earned run. Probably he should have ended up going 6. Got caught in that inning, and I think the Yankees kind of felt like they didn't have a choice. But like 78 pitches, I don't know.
Okay, so I was perfectly fine him getting pulled. Okay, that was one. When Marcus Stroman's pitched 4 2/3, he's given up 5. I think you can argue that there's certain pitchers in the big leagues, stuff wise, right? At the top of your rotation where they give up 2 or 3, given the situation, you can always say, hey, he could have held on a bit longer. But I just don't know about a leash past 5 runs in a baseball game. I just think that given what we have in our bullpen, and especially the guys like, Holmes, Weaver, Gonzalez, and Hamilton, when you've got guys like that, I don't necessarily look at it as a bad thing to deploy them. Do I want to deploy them all the time? Because, hey, every game's pretty much close in the big leagues, so keep deploying them over and over again? No, we've talked about it on this show. You just can't keep milking, right? You just can't keep milking them because eventually they're going to run out of milk. So my thing is that we were in a situation where
Clip
we kind of
that.
got punched in the jaw with Soto being down. And if we lost this game, well, it would have felt like it was almost like a free fall. And so I felt like the
Oh yeah,
Yankees saw it as a game we had to win, and we went and won the game. So I don't think there's too much to read into when it comes to that. Marcus Stroman's one of those guys at the end of our rotation that, if he doesn't have it that night, gives up 3 or 4 runs, no harm, no foul. Most of the time he's excellent, and his ERA is still 3.16. So it kind of goes to show you how good he's been this year. He has a start
crazy.
like this, you pull him, you see him next start, he'll be fine.
I thought Luke Weaver continues to look really good. He got the win. Funny. He has 4 wins on the year, which is crazy.
First 20-game winner out of the bullpen.
Maybe at this rate. Gonzalez wasn't bad. Hamilton wasn't bad. Canely looked really good. Canely had some stuff where, I know he gave up a hit, but he had 2 strikeouts. When Canely's on, like, people always, there are Yankee fans that don't like him for whatever reason. I mean, he's kind of from my neck of the woods, so there's a little bias there. I'm not going to lie. Kind of a hometown hero over here, but
You're so biased.
yeah. No, but like, for real though, 1.59 ERA since he's come back. He's been electric. Great, great velocity. The break on some of his pitches. I mean, Canely's got disgusting stuff. And what's hilarious is obviously he came back to the Yankees. But you remember when the Yankees acquired Canely, right? That's when they got Todd Frazier. That's how long ago that was.
Yeah, because remember, it was like Canely, it was David Robertson. Like we had a really good bullpen before. I mean, we've always
Yeah.
had a good bullpen in general. It's just kind of how we've done things. And having a good bullpen in a way is such a Band-Aid for the regular season. Yes, it's good to have a great bullpen in the postseason, but it's kind of dependent on how you use them in the regular season. If you just milk your bullpen all year long, you're not going to be able to pitch them in October the same way you did. So that's why we put such an emphasis on what our starters do. And the Yes broadcast talks about how many innings and how often our pitchers go 5 innings and give us quality starts. Well, then you can expect guys like Gonzalez, Hamilton, Weaver, Holmes to be healthy and ready to go in October. If they are, and then, Lord willing, Juan Soto's healthy, then I expect us to have a real opportunity to win a World Series. Like, it's a toss up for us to win a World Series. We've been waiting on an opportunity like that for a while, but we've also kind of coached ourselves out of situations to win a World Series as well. In my opinion, some different decisions could have been made, whether it was GM work, in the dugout. But this is one of the first years I'm actually pretty satisfied with what we're doing. Jake, you said it before we started recording the show. You said the only thing that's going to stop this team is injuries. I think a lot of people will agree with you. I agree with you. That's just what it is. And you don't want to go into a season and be like, bubble wrap these players. No, it's, sometimes bad breaks happen and it just sucks. But again, I'm trying to remind people we have no information at all. Tomorrow, Juan Soto, they could tell us he's going to take the Dodgers series off and he's going to be ready to go. So let's just pray.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think really what it comes down to is I think this team wins the World Series if they, stay healthy. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I feel like I've seen enough. I mean, if they just, stay consistent and healthy, I don't see how any team is going to beat this team. I mean, most nights I don't see how they lose. Like it's really picking a Yankees loss is kind of hard because it feels like they can win any game, much less a 7-game series. Like, who are you picking right now, realistically, to beat the Yankees in a 7-game series with how fresh Cole's going to be and how good he looked, by the way? Luis Heel, Clark Schmidt will be back the way he was pitching. You take your pick. I mean, you have Rodon. Nestor Cortez has still been solid, even though he's probably been the worst of the five. And then Stroman. And then in addition to that, the bullpen's pitching well, the top of the bullpen. And you have, big time players like Judge and Soto and Stanton's hitting homers. And it's just like, Volpe has just been a great leadoff hitter. I
Everything's
just
working.
don't, I
Literally
just don't
everything.
know who you would take in a 7-game series right now over the Yankees. Like the Dodgers don't have enough, in my opinion. I don't think they have enough.
Wait, but I thought someone said we were going to win 75 games.
Yeah, I can't. By the way, I did look up that trade. So you were right. I totally forgot David Robertson came with Tommy Kahnle and Todd Frazier. The Yankees gave away their 2026 first round pick the next year, by the way. So ballsy. Trade away outfielder Blake Rutherford, who's 27 and he's still in the minors. Left-hand pitching prospect Ian Clarkin, who was drafted. The Yankees, the year they got Aaron Judge, they had 3 draft picks in the first round. And they took Clarkin with the second pick. They took Eric Jagiello out of Notre Dame in the first pick. And Judge was the third pick. Believe it or not. They picked 2 guys, had Aaron Judge. Kind of funny. Rams had a first-round pick. Second overall, they chose Greg Robinson over Aaron Donald. So, I mean, hey, you know what? Just whatever, as long as you ended up with the guy.
Stupid.
Drafts are stupid. Oh, this will make you laugh. So Tito Polo was another guy that the Yankees trade away, and your buddy Tyler Clippard.
Oh my gosh. Every time I think of Tyler Clippard, and I know he was a successful big leaguer, obviously at some point.
He was good on the Nationals.
Yeah, whenever I think of Tyler Clippard, I just think of him throwing his changeup and it just getting sat all over and just farted on, just a laser into the gap. That I feel like I've seen Tyler Clippard on 30 separate occasions just give up an absolute rocket ship out to the outfield and then just be stressed getting the ball back into the infield.
He always looked stressed on the mound, man. He was like, he had sweat pouring down his face and
he looked like a lawyer. Like dude was just like, oh, that's just can't believe he was ready for that pitch. No shit, Tyler. They're ready for all of them.
Oh man, I think it's funny because like how you feel about Tyler Clippard is how I feel about Boone Logan. Anytime he came in, I'd be like, all right, he's giving up a 3-run shot. Like every time. It felt like every time he came in, he gave up a home run. Now, obviously, I was younger. So things like that, they balloon, right? They feel bigger than they are. But I remember one of my friends who was a Yankee fan was like, nah, Jake, Boone Logan quite literally has a sub 3 ERA right now. I don't know what you're talking about. And I just didn't believe him because I was like, no, my eyes. See, I've
Did he?
seen. I don't think so. I'm actually going to look because if I'm trashing this guy and he ended up having like a 1.65 ERA,
There are pitchers though where you'll be like, I've never seen them get an out before in my life. And then you'll look up and their ERA is 4.10. Like, remember
I
earlier this year, Dennis Santana, we were like, oh, wow, his ERA is 2.5. I've never seen him get an out. Never, not once.
yeah, well
So,
now it's caught
come
up
on.
with him and it's 5.8. Yeah, Boone Logan had a 3.38 ERA, 19-7 with a 1.31 whip, 202 strikeouts in 176 innings. He was actually good. But I felt like every time he got up on the mound, the dude's giving up a home run. I was like, what the hell?
Well, I mean, also the ones you're going to remember are the important ones. Like, for
Yeah, of
example,
course.
if you watch Aroldis Chapman, okay, if you watch him from game 1 of the regular season to game 162, if you watched every game, you'd say, wow, this guy's great. He's elite. But if you watched him in October only, you'd be like, this is their closer? Seriously. Aroldis
Yeah.
Chapman has blown more big games than I think a lot of people are comfortable talking about. He almost blew the Cubs World Series, giving up a home run to Rajay Davis. You also have to bring up the fact that Madden brought him into a game and overworked him. But at the same time, how many big hits has Chapman given up in the postseason? Right? And this is an all-time great closer. Aroldis Chapman has
Rajay
been amazing.
Davis. That's a blast from the past. That dude
Rajay
was
Davis
like,
hit an absolute
he'd steal like
rocket off of him in the World
50
Series.
He'd steal like 50 bases and he had like one home run all year. That might have been the only home run he hit.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
He threw it right in his wheelhouse. Down and in, he just absolutely smoked it.
The thing that is weird though, Gary, is that I sit here and say, Boone Logan, you're talking about, well, you remember this, because you'll always remember where he gives up the home runs and stuff. I don't remember like, Kyle Farnsworth or Scott Proctor or Paul Quantrill getting absolutely obliterated. You know what I mean? But I
I just
always
remember
remember,
Farnsworth punching walls. That's what I remember. I used
dude,
to be in the clubhouse. This dude would literally just come in and just kamehameha a wall, and you just wouldn't believe it. Dude, anyone would tell you that. He was actually a really nice guy, too. He would just smoke a wall. And my dad would look at me and be like, he's nuts. He's crazy. But, it's part of the
he's
process. Some
crazy.
guys have to get themselves jacked up. Kevin Brown was like that. Kevin Brown used to walk in and just boom, right on the wall, just crush a wall. Like he would just punch right through a drywall. Swear to God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I box and that hurts my hand thinking about that. Like
Yeah.
bare hand, like my God. That's just
Oh, bare hand. Yeah, dude. This guy would go through the drywall. Like he would just carry right through the drywall. And we're just like, holy shit. Damn. Okay. Kevin's on
yeah.
one.
Gary's just like letting out his trauma as a child.
I'm gonna give you one more name who used to do the same. You remember this is in Detroit, was Joel Zumaya, who actually ended up
That
hurting
makes
himself
sense.
doing it.
That makes
That
sense.
was
Yeah.
not the first time he'd done that. Because
He
that
did
dude
that
would
on the freaking mound. He always looked pissed off.
Yeah, he was. Also a really nice guy. Joel Zumaya was incredibly nice. That dude would come into the clubhouse. He would go into the game room because that's where I was in the game room just playing video games. This dude would come in the game room and just like crow hop a baseball right into a drywall. Boom. So, okay.
Oh man, and he threw hard, dude. He was
Yeah.
throwing 98, but that was back in what 04, 05? Like I mean,
98. He threw 104 to Jason Giambi. Go look that up. 104. No
104,
one was
huh?
throwing 104. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He did it to A-Rod as well. 103, I believe it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
remember he
footage will
was
be
a
there.
flamethrower. I mean Farnsworth threw hard. Farnsworth definitely threw hard. Quantrill, wasn't he the under? He like had the submarine.
I don't even remember. I really
I
don't. I just remember Scott Proctor.
I love Scott Proctor. So he looks kind of like John Cena. I know I said that last time, but
He does look like John Cena. Yeah, he does.
it's just, I mean, dude's literally John Cena. I don't know what to tell you. But no, it's funny because with bullpen guys, you get to know these guys and like they could be around for 10 years. I mean, bullpen guys, now it's a little harder to bring guys back. They ask for more money, they become more valuable. But back in the day, like Paul Quantrill, Scott Proctor, Farnsworth, um, I mean, just so many that essentially you would not. Tom Gordon had the nastiest curveball you've ever seen. I mean, yeah, and it's just like you had these guys that would stay past a year, and you get to
I
know
think it
the
was just
bullpen.
because there was less talent, to be honest with you. I actually think that's what it was.
Probably,
I think in general, there was so much less talent in 1995 as in comparison to today. Because if you really think about it, think about the way bullpens were used. Starters were the most important pitcher on the field by far. Okay. And now they're like kinda. But you'll go out there, they'll give you like 4 innings today. Like dudes will go out there, like for example, like Paul Skeens would go out, give you one hit ball for 5 innings. They pull his ass, and then their best pitcher will come out in like the 7th and 8th inning. Like, what is going on? All three of these dudes out the bullpen are throwing 100 miles an hour. Skeens was throwing 103, right? But in 1995, it was starter, setup man, closer. Starter, middle reliever, setup man, closer. It was the same guys over and over again. And then now it's like in steps Weaver, who we're talking about, when he feels like he wins every game. He gets the win for all these games. He's throwing 96. Gonzalez is throwing 96. Hamilton's throwing 100, right? Holmes is throwing 100. So
yeah,
there's just so much talent in this league. And when you really think about it, it's kind of changed what you just said, how guys can be a part of your organization. These dudes will throw together like an all-star season throwing 100, and then they'll go look at Houston and be like, yo, I want 5 years, 100 million. Well, shit. What
yeah.
am I supposed to do about that? You just kind of have to let guys walk.
No, it's. I mean, yeah. Oh, I remembered who the like under like submarine guy was. It was
Who?
Mike Myers.
Oh, I remember Mike Myers.
Yep, Mike
That's a bad
Myers.
name.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean you can't see it; it's cut off, but Michael Myers is right there. So dude, these
Would have been cool if it was
names:
on screen.
Aaron Small. Remember Aaron Small?
No.
Sean Chacon.
Oh, Sean Chacon. Oh my god.
Dude, I
Yes.
love that guy.
Sean
He always
Chacon
had
never
his.
wore a jersey that fit him ever once.
He also always had his hat like off to the side.
Dude thought he was King Felix.
Octavio Dotel. Coulter Bean. Yo, the legend of Coulter Bean.
Oh, Sean Chacon, dude. So
Sidney
funny.
Ponson, remember?
Yeah, I remember all these guys.
Oh,
Oh,
dude.
we don't know how good we have it.
Daryl Rasner, Brian Bruni, Jeff Karstens.
I don't
Oh,
remember. I don't
dude,
remember who that is.
Ron Vallone.
Nope.
Sean Chacon wasn't as good as I remembered. He had a 7 ERA.
You thought Sean you, you thought Sean Chacon was good? I mean, don't get me wrong,
As
he's a big leaguer. But you
I
thought he
watched
was good?
one I watched one game as a kid and I thought like he almost pitched like a no-hitter or something. Like he was so good. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I
No,
was
Sean
lied to.
Chacon came in, I'm not kidding you, and would just get crapped on
Aaron
every time.
Small randomly had a season where he went 10-0 with the Yankees. It was like at the end of his career. He retired the year after, but he went 10-0 with a 3.2 ERA and a 1.25 WHIP. I remember him. Aaron
Sean
Small.
Chacon is 46 years old. You know who should sign him right now is the Mets. They could probably use him.
Oh, remember Felix Rodriguez?
Nope.
Oh, that's a bummer. Man, Sean Chacon, those were the days. Al Leiter, what? Al Leiter went to the Yankees. He went back to the Yankees his last year in 2005.
Dude, I'm sitting here trying to look at Baseball Reference to look at Sean Chacon's tenure as a Yankee. There's so many stupid stats out there. No one in the comment section ever told me how bad it's gotten with these analytics. I can't even find ERA. It's like ERA plus, FIP, WHIP,
Hip.
home runs per 9, walks per 9, strikeouts per 9. Finally, we get to some real stats. Good Lord. Show me innings pitched, strikeouts, walks, hit by pitches, the basic stats, earn runs. This is insane.
Oh, dude, I made a mistake. This is a freaking rabbit hole. Tony Womack, Ruben Sierra, Mark Bellhorn, Melky
Oh,
Cabrera.
Mark Bellhorn. Yeah.
That's the one, dude. He's like, oh, Mark Bellhorn. That was my guy. I remember they got him. Shelly Duncan.
Oh, Shelly Duncan. I remember Shelly Duncan. I think he wore number 17,
So
if I'm not mistaken. He better have.
He did.
Yeah.
He wore 17 and then he randomly wore 28. I saw Shelly Duncan play in the minors. I did. He played
I don't remember if
the
Shelly Duncan
at
was
the,
good or not.
I don't know. I'm gonna say to play in the major leagues, you're good, but he was a career 226 hitter. All he's 724 OPS. It's not awful.
Okay.
Jose Molina played for the Yankees. Apparently, totally forgot about that.
Oh, I knew
Andy
that.
Phillips. Andy Phillips, man. Totally thought this guy was going to be like the next big thing at first base. And you know, his last year with the Yankees, he hit 292.
Well, you might as well
And
throw
then
Greg Bird in that conversation. We used to think Greg Bird was going to be freaking
I actually
Todd
never
Helton.
liked Greg. I never liked Greg Bird. I don't know
No?
why. Never liked him. I didn't like guys that were like getting like they got obsessed. Like Ronald Torreyes was probably my least favorite player because like everyone would be like he'd have like a
Oh,
hit.
dude.
He'd
That's
have a
okay.
hit that he beat out, and people would be like, "See, he's just so tough and strong, and he's got this passion." And I'm like, "Why are you guys acting like he's Derek Jeter?"
No. Hold on. Wasn't he the guy? Was that the season when we had Torreyes, when we had the mascot of the turtle? Do
I
you
have
remember
no
this?
idea.
You
No,
don't. Okay, so the Yankees, which someone will find this. There was a point where the Yankees they had a mascot of a turtle. Now again, it was so Yankees Twitter. It was so stupid. We were almost like this feel good story, which by the way, I cannot stand Yankees Twitter. They suck in all ways of life. They're horrible. Jake is a grown man. He can say what he wants. I'm speaking for myself. I think Yankees Twitter is just garbage. And that whole like, we're the kids, like in 2017, they're like, for the kids are out there, the baby bombers. I'm like, this is not of the Yankee way. This is not it. I want to be the villain. I want to be when the Dodgers show up to town and they go to San Diego and everyone's booing 4 players in a row because they're all superstars. That's what I want to see. I'm not trying to watch like, oh, this is the young stud. No. And like the Torreyes story, horrible. None
he
of
had
it was fun.
281, but it's like people acted like he was Derek Jeter. I don't know.
No, I just think he was so likable because he was like wearing Aaron Judge's jersey and he was 5'2". He was like the size of Prince.
Do
It
you
wasn't even
remember that?
enjoyable. Yeah, it was
You
stupid.
remember? They like wouldn't give him a normal size jersey. He played 221 games with the Yankees, and they never gave him a jersey that fit him. And
Good.
he wore his socks like super high, like way past the knee. I
The kid was
remember it like
4'2".
I'll
It was
never
such a dumb
forget.
story.
I'll never forget when he was coming home and they didn't wave him home. And he got out, like the catcher hugged him at the end. It was the dumbest thing I had ever seen. And people were like, they were blaming the third base coach for sending him when he didn't actually send him because you could never give Ronald. Wait, no way. He's 31.
Torreyes?
Torreyes is 31 years old.
Yeah, he's in his prime. He's represented by Scott Boras. He's looking for a 10-year deal. Scott Boras, he's trying to get a 13-year deal with the San Diego Padres for Torreyes.
Wait, Torreyes in 2021 played with the Phillies for 111 games?
Yes.
Oh, Joe Girardi. No, you didn't. Oh, my God.
Yes, he did.
Joe Girardi. Speaking of which,
when I wanted to defend Joe Girardi, that was just terrible. Joe Girardi is probably wearing a Tom Ford suit talking about baseball somewhere.
I mean, I haven't seen him, at Yes Network.
Which, by the way, Joe Girardi, I'm a huge fan of Joe Girardi because I said he shouldn't have been fired in the first place. If you said that we got cheated in 2017, well, then why would you fire your manager? We've talked about this. So I'm a huge fan of Joe Girardi.
I like Joe Girardi.
I'm not sure what he's doing. I'd be very interested to find out. I'm sure he's doing something. He was a very good coach, in my opinion, or manager, I guess you can say. But I don't know.
And I'm sure the Phillies are grateful about, who he picked as his bench coach because Rob Thompson is still there.
Yeah. Do you see how sidetracked we get on a Yankee show? We just start talking about assistants.
I know. It's crazy. Well,
it's fair.
On that note, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Yankees are killing it, but the Juan Soto news does matter. It does suck, and we hope it doesn't end up amounting to anything that could be problematic in the near future.
I'm predicting this, Jake. They're going to give me a 10-day IL. Reason being, they said he's already dealing with it. 10-day IL, I think Dominguez will be called up immediately. That's my thought.
I see that. I see it. I definitely see it. But
Dominguez isn't a prospect anymore. I don't know why we have him on there as a prospect. He's already a big leaguer. We just don't have room for him. And you can argue, oh, hey, he might be a better player than Verdugo, whatever. But, given the situation we're in, Verdugo is our starting left fielder. There's no spots. But if Juan Soto's hurt, we do have a spot. Voila, just like that. So Dominguez can come up for 10 days. You play. Juan Soto steps right back in. You send Dominguez straight back down to the minor leagues. And that's what it is. If Dominguez plays his ass off, which is possible, then you have the biggest trade chip known to man. Hey, we've got this guy who's a proven big leaguer. You've seen what he could do last year. He had his UCL injury. You want to see how he recovered? There you go. Right? You see the results. So hopefully he plays well when he does come up, if he does, I guess. And it would just mean that much more value in the minor leagues for the Yankees.
Yeah. I mean, if you get past the paywall, Baseball America, they have Jason Dominguez at 8th in all prospects. So I don't really view him as a prospect. I kind of wish they would just take him out of the list. I think it's kind of disrespectful to him. But yeah, that's it, folks. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's been a longer episode, but we did miss, the previous game, which we actually didn't end up talking about at all. But, the Yankees took care of business because, well, they played the Twins. So you can always assume that they take care of business against the Twins. I don't remember the last time the Twins had beaten the Yankees, to be honest with you. Whoever drops in the comment section, bonus points for them. But real quick before we go, Rodon was excellent 2 nights ago in that game. I am so sad. He had the perfect game going and it just all came apart. He still pitched very well. Judge had a triple in that game. That was a fun game. More fun than tonight. But hey, A win is a win. You're not going to complain about how you win as long as you win. So the Yankees are 45-19, doing their damnedest to keep the Orioles at bay and in
Who
second
also
place
lost
instead of
today, by the
first.
way.
They did also lose. So now they got the Dodgers potentially without Juan Soto. I'll say this to your point with Jason Dominguez. This would be the time to call him up. If you're going up against the Dodgers, I'm not trying to try. Maybe it's just me. I'm not trying to trot out Trent Grisham for that series. I don't care that he homered tonight. Good for him. Appreciate the contribution. I don't want him starting 3 straight games against the freaking Dodgers. Sorry.
That's fair.
I don't. So anyway, that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.
Like this video.